Welcome to GCSE Statistics Lesson 1, Chapter 1 on describing data, describing the different types of data. So this course is going to take you through everything you need. Please follow the instructions, pause the video where you need to, go back where you need to, etc. When I say about writing flashcards, flashcards are key. I'm a strong believer in everything I teach isn't particularly difficult, but it's the remembering that's hard, and loads of students feel that. And there's a big science behind repetition. Repetition makes things harder to forget, okay? So you're going to have to remember. And if we do it little and often, it's not going to eat into your time either, okay? So when I'm asking you to write a flashcard, don't skip that step. If you haven't got any flashcards, cut up some paper, follow my instructions, okay? Right, let's get going then. So the keywords that we're going to be learning today are listed: quantitative, qualitative, discrete, and continuous. Right, the first thing that we need though, that wasn't on the first slide, is raw data. So raw data is unprocessed data. It's data just as it's been collected, okay? Nothing's been done to it, nothing's been removed. It might have mistakes in it. Look, if we look at this data, it's got parts missing, it's got not applicable. Raw data is unprocessed data, okay? That's the first flashcard, please, that I would like you to write. Raw data on one side, unprocessed data on the others. And it's literally about you, please, looking at these daily to memorize them. So, as we've said, raw data may contain mistakes. It may be in different units. It may have gaps, okay? But all of this needs to be corrected before it can be used, okay? Right, next. So raw data can be classified into two separate groups initially: quantitative data and qualitative data. Now we need to know the meaning for both of these. N is numerical data. So the quantitative data is numerical data. So, for example, you might have things like the number of cars that you've just seen. You might have someone's height. You might have someone's weight. You might have number of leaves on a tree. So anything that's going to give you a number as an answer. Let's just type some of those out, okay? So, number of cars you've seen. Number of siblings. Someone's age. Someone's shoe size, okay? All of those are going to give you a numerical answer. And then we've got qualitative data. Qualitative data. Now I said that lit part slow because lit, when I'm teaching this, I want students to think of qualitative as worded data, so worded observations. Now lit, I think of English, English literature, English is words. I don't know if it's a link that you can see, but hopefully it helps a little bit. Qualitative data is worded data. So that might be the colour of a car. Okay, it might be the names of your siblings. It might be it might be anything to do with words, basically. Okay, so anything that's going to give you a worded data. It might be the name of your dog. It might be the breed of your dog. Anything that is going to give you worded data. Right, can you create two flashcards for that then, please? So the first one's saying that quantitative data is numerical data, right? N stands for the numerical, and that qualitative data is your worded data. You might want to put a few examples on there as well, so pause the video and do that, please. Okay, so we've said raw data can be split into quantitative data, remember N for numbers, and then we've got qualitative data there at the top. Now this quantitative data can be split further into two groups: continuous data and discrete data. Now continuous data is any value on a scale, data that can take any value on a scale. For example, someone's mass, or the mass of something. It could be 3.294 grams. We might not have measuring instruments that weigh to that degree of accuracy, but it could be any single value on a scale. We have the distance of something, the length of something, or a distance, okay? If you could measure something, if you had the correct equipment, to a degree of accuracy that was any number, okay? And also a time. So if you're running a 100-meter race, you can finish in 19.63 seconds, okay? Mass, length and time tend to be your three continuous data that can have any value on a scale. However, discrete can only take particular values. So only take particular values. So something that could take particular values would be something like the number of cars. Right, number of cars. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. You can't have 3.82 cars, okay? I'm going to write shoe size in there. Now, shoe size, you can have 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, etc. So there are half values, but you couldn't have any value on a scale. So you couldn't have 3.25 as a shoe size, for example, okay? However, length of foot would be continuous. Shoe size discrete, length of foot is going to be continuous. I'm going to put amount of money here. Once again, you could have decimals. You could have £3.79, okay? But you can't have £3.792. Right, it's still got to be certain values, £3.79, £3.80, £3.81, etc. Okay, so it only takes certain values, but it doesn't have to be whole numbers. Okay, right, can you write flashcards for that, please? Continuous, any value on a scale, specifically a mass, length or time. Discrete only takes particular values, only takes certain values. Right, on to the next one then. So let's just do a little test here. You test yourself. Eddie carries out a survey about the pet's dog his classmates own. Decide if the following data is qualitative data, lit, or worded data. So how many dogs each person owns? Numerical, it's going to be a number. Quantitative. The colour of the dogs. You've got it, qualitative. The type of dog. Qualitative. The mass of each dog. Quantitative. The age of a dog. A number. Quantitative. The name of the dog. Qualitative, worded data. So numerical, how many each person owns? Worded. Mass of each dog's numerical. Type of dog, there we go. So if we were to separate them, I've put the quantitative on the left and the qualitative on the right. Okay, right, there we go. Now thinking about whether these would be discrete or continuous, for the quantitative, how many dogs each person owns, that could only be particular values, that's got to be discrete. The mass of each dog is continuous, it could be any value on a scale. The age of each dog, now that one's hard. The age of each dog in years is discrete, okay? However, because you'd say you're 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, people don't tend to say people are 3.245 years, do they? However, it could be continuous data if you did it in seconds, day. You know, you could say a dog was 3.84 days old, for example, couldn't you? But we tend to say discrete. Let's just think of the general here. The ages in years, we tend to say discrete. Okay, next one then, discrete or continuous. So we're starting with the number of people in a room. In fact, I'm going to put these into a category of discrete over here and continuous over there. Number of people in a room. Can you have any value on a scale, or is it a certain value? It's got to be a certain value, so that's going to be discrete. Next one. Oh, let's take away the thing. The number of pages in a book. Discrete. The time taken to complete a puzzle. That can be any value on a scale, couldn't it? Time is any value. The mass of a book. Well, time and mass are both continuous. The length of a line. Continuous. The number of songs in an album. Discrete. Only got certain values there. Okay, that's discrete and continuous. Right, we've spoke about these confusing cases. I just wanted to highlight them again. Shoe size. Even though a person's shoe size is based on the length of the foot, the size allocated to that person can only be given a value such as 6 or 6.5. That would make it discrete. Okay, shoe size is therefore discrete. Length of foot, though, if you were given just the length of a foot, that would be continuous. Therefore, shoe size is an exact value, which makes it discrete data. If the size of the shoe was given as small, medium, or large, then it would be qualitative data, okay, for slippers, for example. And then money's just the other one there. Even though money can take a range of values, including decimals, it can only take certain values, such as £1.68 or £1.67. There is nothing in between. Therefore, amount of money is discrete data as well. Okay, and just to finish off this lesson then, there's some other types of data that you need to be aware of that I would write onto flashcards. The purple means that it's on the higher GCSE only. Okay, but categorical, ordinal and bivariate. Categorical is data that can be sorted into non-overlapping categories. Okay. I like to use like form groups as an example of this. If I'm teaching in a classroom, we highlight that everybody is a member of a particular form group, okay? That's a category, right? You could also have something like gender, right? That can be a category. Various things, okay? Your lots of different things, okay, but non-overlapping categories. Ordinal data is data that can be given an order, so data that can be put in order. For example, data that you can rank, data that you can put in order. Write that on a flashcard, please. E.g., the marks that you've got in an exam. Okay, so someone's marks could be put in order. Then you've got bivariate data. Now, bi means two. Variate is variables, so that is two variables basically. So it's when you are involved in measuring two variables. They can be qualitative or quantitative, grouped or ungrouped, usually to deal with scatter diagrams where you've got an axis for the two variables, but just for now measuring two variables. So it could be something like, e.g., someone's height and weight. Okay, hours spent revising versus exam grade, things like that. And multivariate is more than two variables. Multivariate data is more than two variables. Okay, that could be comparing height, weight and shoe size together. Okay, for example, if you were comparing someone's height, weight and shoe size. Please get those on your first flashcards, okay? So you should have a number of flashcards so far. Please write them on there and I will see you in lesson 2. Number 1 completed. Get it ticked off. Well done.